The first stop is St. Mark's Church. Embracing the diverse community of the neighborhood, St. Mark's offers both Spanish and English services, from the Masses to the children's program at the church. The church engages in several community events, such as a food pantry. However, one of the most noticeable events is their flea market, which you might be lucky enough to happen upon if walking here on a Saturday. The flea market allows local community vendors to sell both used and new merchandise, ranging from vintage trinkets to sparkling jewelry. Traverse Park. Traverse Park is part of the New York City Parks Department. Founded in 1948, the park is named after Thomas J. Traverse. He was a Manhattan born and raised World War I soldier who, after serving his country, married and settled in Jackson Heights. Traverse continued to service his fellow citizens by helping the St. Joan of Arc Church, the Catholic Youth Organization, and the Sandlot Baseball League, which he helped form. Besides being involved in social projects, Traverse participated in more economically based groups, such as the Jackson Heights Taxpayers Association and the Queensborough Chamber of Commerce. He continued his economic contributions to the community throughout World War II. Then, in 1940, Traverse became the Democratic leader of Woodside Jackson Heights. In 1948, the Traverse Park, not yet known by that name, was founded, and had a shuffleboard, softball, basketball, volleyball, paddle tennis, and handball court, as well as a place for children to play. The park included a roller skating rink, which would be filled with water on cold days to create an ice skating rink. In 1950, Mr. Traverse died. It was in this year the City Council decided to name the park after him. Moving from the past to the present, the park has been renovated in 1995 and in 2010. It now has sprinklers, picnic tables, new play equipment for a larger range of children, game tables, new greenery, and security lighting. Children can be seen with their guardians on nice days, playing throughout the park's jungle gym-like section, while a large range of ages from young school-aged children to older teens are seen utilizing the park's various courts.
Jackson Heights is called the Garden in the City by its historian Daniel Karatsas, and rightly so. It is the first example of the Garden City movement in the United States. In this community, there are many apartments and private parks called gardens, gated from the rest of the neighborhood. Only those who live in the surrounding buildings have access to these pastoral escapes from the city. According to a local resident, every spring the public is allowed into all of these gardens. The last one of these to be built was Dunolly Gardens, which I actually have a special connection with. I lived in an apartment that was part of the Dunolly Gardens complex. Unlike other buildings from its time, it has a more modern look and is a full block in size. It was built on the site of a former golf park. Although I was only 8 years old when I moved, I still remember the experience of living in such a unique neighborhood. The gardens really are an integral part of the life in the historic district of Jackson Heights, allowing one the ability to have the benefits of suburban living in an increasingly more urban environment. If you're lucky enough and the gates are open, try and take a look into the private spheres of this garden city. The gardens really are a beautiful escape from the traffic of this urban neighborhood.
You'll now be at St. Joan of Arc Church, the one Mr. Traverse had assisted. This church is a Catholic institution, founded in 1920. The church is named after Joan of Arc, a French woman who fought in the 100 Years' War, because she was canonized the same year the church was established. However, the actual building you see was finished in 1927. The church offers masses in English and Spanish several days a week, and serves the relatively large Catholic population in the area with 2 churches, the upper and the lower, within the one building. It also has several community organizations, such as a youth council and a book club. These factors show the sense of fellowship this church encourages, as well as the diversity of the area. The parish also has a private school of the same name. It is a blue ribbon school, meaning it has been recognized by the federal government for its educational excellence. Grades kindergarten through 8th are enrolled, and an after-school program is available for the younger students.
Located on 81st Street, the Jackson Heights Public Library is one of the largest South Asian resources in the Queen's Library system. Boasting 25 public access computers, a computer center, and free internet access, it's a popular study zone for schools and the community. For more information on hours and events, visit queenslibrary.org.
Jackson Heights Post Office. Now make your way over to 37th Avenue, and in between 78th and 79th Street, you will find the Jackson Heights Post Office. Before 1923, the Jackson Heights community had complained for years about their lack of a post office. Before 1921, residents had the inconvenience of having a mailing address listed as Jackson Heights, Elmhurst, Long Island. The community received their first post office branch in 1923, located near 82nd Street on 37th Avenue. Incredibly, it took another 14 years before an official Jackson Heights post office was built. To mark this crucial event, the executive committee of the Jackson Heights post office celebration was organized. On September 30th, 1937, a celebration was held with musical programs, speeches, ceremonies, an invocation, and the benediction. Inside this post office, a WPA-era mural, painted by Peppino Mangravat, can be found, symbolizing the growth of Jackson Heights. Kalpanashala Way. As you make your way over to Kalpanashala Way, located on 74th Street, I will give a brief biography of the figure standing behind the street's name. Born in Karnal, India, Kalpanashala was the first Indian-American astronaut and first Indian woman to travel to space. She moved to the United States in 1982, where she received a MS degree in aerospace engineering from the University of Texas at Arlington in 1984. She also received a PhD in aerospace engineering in 1988. Shortly afterwards, Shala began working at the NASA Ames Research Center. Shala joined the NASA Astronaut Corps in March 1995 and had her first flight in 1996. Unfortunately, Shala died in the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster in 2003, where the Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrated during re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. In recognition of Shala's contributions, 74th Street was renamed 74th Street Kalpanashala Way in 2004. Before then, the Jackson Heights community had been trying for some time to get the street renamed after her. Many Jackson Heights residents saw Shala as a hero who sacrificed her life for America. Although Shala's life was ended unexpectedly, her name will be remembered for generations and generations to come.
Down here at 37th Avenue are Sabzi Mandi and Apna Bazaar. Both carry a wide array of Indian groceries and goods, just like Patel brothers. However, Apna Bazaar's claim to fame is that they carry the Alfonso mangoes, called the King of Mangoes. For a long time, these were only available in India, but they are now available to Jackson Heights' large expatriate population at $28 to $40 a crate. A hefty price, but many say it is worth it.
Salmon Raj. Located on the corner of 74th Street and Broadway stands Salmon Raj, an electronics store that is legendary to the Jackson Heights Indian diaspora. The start of Little India can be narrowed down to the story of this little electronics goods store. In 1973, Subhas Ghai and Raj Gandhi decided to start the store in Jackson Heights, and it quickly became well known amongst Indian immigrants. The store provided an easy way to receive access to Indian goods. Salmon Raj was strategically placed near the subway train station, which drew in the increasing Indian populations from all over Queens. It also marketed and sold electronic goods, which were extremely successful since many Jackson Heights South Asians relied on electronics to access visual and oral ethnic pleasures, such as Hindi films and Indian music. The store served a wide variety of Indians, including American citizens, resident aliens, and tourists alike. As the immigration population grew and grew, Salmon Raj gained international fame, especially when India began to develop important sections of its economy and electronics.
Here on 74th Street is the famous Patel Brothers grocery store, one of the many Indian grocery stores here in Jackson Heights. It is part of a chain that originated in Chicago by an Indian family. Here you can find everything from your typical carrots, tomatoes, and lettuce, to more exotic Indian vegetables like karela, bangan, and bindi. They also carry Indian packaged foods and frozen selections. Indian spices are not out of the question either.
As we wind down on our tour, feel free to take a break at the 74th Street Plaza. Central to downtown shopping, you can catch a bite to eat with Indian, Bengali, Nepalese, and Pakistani food, all halal. Peek your head into a bookstore or fall in love with the latest Bollywood ballad. By nightfall, the lights come on in the square, making the plaza an even more beautiful and intimate place to spend an evening.
What seems to stand out in this plaza is the Jackson Heights food court, which bears an interesting resemblance to a movie theater. In fact, this food court was once a movie theater, the Eagle Movie Theater, which played Bollywood movies until it was shuttered in 2009 due to a combination of high rent and a Bollywood strike in India. The Art Deco Movie Palace has had an interesting history. Initially a 1930s movie theater that had a stint as a porn palace before becoming a Bollywood theater, and is now a food court serving Bangladeshi and Nepali foods. It also has a grocery store in the back. This most recent reincarnation opened in 2012, 3 years after the old Eagle was shuttered down. Jackson Heights historian Daniel Karatsas was highly upset by the loss of the Art Deco Movie Palace, but the site is worth visiting regardless.
Here we have the Moonlight International advertisement. This billboard belongs to the watch store located right underneath it. The advertisement is known to feature Bollywood stars with Moonlight's products, even though the merchandise is American. By pairing Bollywood actors with otherwise American ads, the company appeals to the masses of South Asian immigrants in America in hopes to increase sales. The current ad features Shah Rukh Khan, one of Bollywood's most recognized actors. The billboard serves as a marker as the beginning, or end, of Jackson Heights' Little India. However, a more significant marker is the train station. You'll see the Roosevelt Jackson Heights subway station in front of you. Originally built in the early 1900s, the train station provided transportation between Manhattan and Queens, allowing middle-class workers to maintain their Manhattan jobs while living in the outer borough.